Hey guys, welcome to my channel! I'm glad you joined me for the second video of the series How Healthy is Thanksgiving? Today we'll be making cranberry cider relish and apple butter, which are both served together with the turkey. The first recipe is pretty simple and really quick to make, once you have cooked the apple cider which we prepared in the last video. If you haven't seen it, click here, or I'll link it down below. Put a part of the homemade apple cider into a pot, add some sugar and a few spices like cinnamon stick, 1 clove and an orange peel. Let it simmer for a few minutes and then remove the spices. Now it's time to add the main ingredient, the cranberries. You can use fresh or frozen ones, that doesn't matter, but dried berries won't work. Then let it simmer for about 10 minutes more, and when the cranberries have disintegrated, mash them and fill it into a glass. And that's it! Now let's see what nutrients this has in store for us. The word cranberry comes from the German word Cranbeere, which literally means craneberry, because the flower of this plant looks like the neck and head of a crane. Cranberries grow in bushes near the ground, that's why they are also called mossberries. To harvest them, the fields are flooded with water, and because the berries have 4 air capsules inside, they float and can be skimmed off the top. But about 10% of the berries don't come loose from the plants and are left behind. The biggest producer and also consumer of cranberries are the United States. They cultivate more than half of all cranberries in the world. Canada also grows a lot of cranberries, more than a quarter of the world production. Cranberry juice is said to help against female bladder infections. But the current research is contradictory, and therefore this hypothesis can't be yet supported scientifically. Now, let's look at the nutritional values of 100 grams of cranberries. They contain a lot of water, almost 90%. The carbohydrates consist mainly of dietary fiber and simple sugars. Also, they have a decent amount of vitamin C, but nothing too special. When we look at the relative numbers, we can see that cranberries also bring quite a bit of vitamin K and copper to the table. The nutritional value of our cranberry cider relish, however, is not that good. With about 100 kilocalories per portion, the energy amount is more than 2.5 times higher than with cranberries alone. That's mainly because we added a lot of sugar and also the sweetened apple cider. You can also see that the vitamin C amount has declined, the reason being that vitamins are quite sensitive to heat. If we have a look at the percentage cover of the recommended nutritional values, manganese catches the eye. Both the apple cider and cranberries in this recipe bring their fair share of manganese with them. Welcome back to the kitchen! Now, let's tend to the apple butter. You will get best results if you're using apples which have a sour note, because later on we'll need to add sugar to the mixture and you don't want to make the apple butter too sweet. So, take your apples and remove the core and cut them into small pieces. Put the fruit into a pot preferably a non-stick one, so you don't risk the mixture burning and you don't have to babysit the whole cooking process. Add some brown sugar, vanilla sugar, some cinnamon, and a tablespoon of lemon juice. Mix it well, cover it, and then let it simmer on medium-low heat. When the apples have softened, which will take about 40 minutes, we'll puree it with a hand blender. And now for my favorite part, tasting for seasoning. If you're happy with the result like I am, and you don't feel the need for more sugar, then it's already time to fill it into a glass. And we're finished! But before you leave, check out what the inconspicuous apples have to offer, besides delicious taste. Apples contain more vitamins when they have grown in the sun instead of the shade of tree leaves. 70% of all vitamins are directly beneath the skin, so don't peel your apples before you eat them. Sour apples don't necessarily have less sugar than sweet ones. The sweetness is determined by the ratio of sugar and acidity. So many sour apple varieties have more fructose than the sweet ones, but because they also have more acidity, they are perceived as sour. 50% of people with an allergy to birch pollen also experience a cross allergy to apples. The symptoms are similar to the pollen allergy: itching and swelling, as well as gastrointestinal complaints. If we look at the nutritional values, we can see that the carbohydrates in apples mostly consist of sugar, although overall it's not a lot of sugar for a fruit. Also, we notice that apples have exactly the same amount of vitamin C as the cranberries before. One portion of apple butter has only a few calories more than apples by themselves, and that's mainly caused by the addition of brown sugar, which can be seen in the increased amount of disaccharides. Overall, there are barely any nutrients in one portion of apple butter. But that's not tragic, since it's not a main dish and more like an addition to other foods. Also, you don't consume much of it, so it's not surprising that the nutrient profile isn't exciting. That wraps it up for today, guys! I hope you've liked this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and see you next time on How Healthy is Thanksgiving?